Well, hello and welcome to the Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and with me tonight is Miss Raine. How are you, honey?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm running around here trying to get things going so we can get going.
Oh, I know. It's weird. Blog Talk had us scheduled at 11. I'm like, no, we're doing this at 9. Knock it off, Bloggy Talk.
Yeah. It's like, what,
Yeah.
did they think we suddenly decided to change it? Of course, you and me, you never know.
You never know. So, it may not be that big of a talk. It may be a shorter episode if the calls don't get coming in, but that's okay. We're still here to talk about some interesting things. And Rainey, they're up to it again, honey. Apparently laundry soap is down in stock.
Laundry soap is down in...
Yeah, apparently.
Well, here is my thing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets all ruffled all over everything. And I got to tell you, honey, with all these planets and all their craziness, this is just affecting my mood. I am just like having to do so much cleansing and purifying. It's not even funny, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point where I'm making multiple lists every day.
Well, I keep 3 running lists, but anyhow. The planets are a little bit getting aligned with the moon, depending on where you are. And this is why, when it comes to astrology church, they want to know your birth location.
Right.
And here's why. The Philippines is enjoying the view of Mercury and the moon dancing. All right, but if you go over to California, Mars and the moon are sashaying through the town.
Right. And what I always find interesting, is, someone will call me and they'll go, oh, you don't need my birth date. Well, yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Here is an example, perfect example as to why.
Mm-hmm.
We got to figure out sort of where you fit in on all this craziness.
Right.
All these changes, how it affects you personally.
Right.
And
the moon, she's playing house guest to a few visitors, nearly a half a dozen.
I know. And, practically every day. In fact, I'm going to tell you, since the eclipse, I've been looking at the moon, and it's like it's constantly changing. The color's changing. Where it's located is changing. You're seeing all this strange stuff going on here. It's like, yeah, there are some changes going on. It is affecting, I know for me personally, it's affecting my mood a little bit more anxious. Do I think the world's going to end? No, I do not.
Well, I don't think the world's going to end. And, that's why I was saying that laundry soap's prices, apparently the stock is down again, because everybody knows, laundry soap, bread, milk, and toilet paper, every time, one of these doomsday prophecies, and dear goodness, let's talk about that for a minute, and we'll hop back to who was awful visiting the moon. Apparently the world's going to end on the 23rd. Well, sorry, my calendar's a little bit busy that day. I'm supposed to be at the shop. We're having Psychic Saturday. There's a street fair going on outside. It's a little busy. So, no, the world will not end on September 23rd at all.
Because Aeson's got too much to do. I know. I've got an event I've got to go to on Saturday as well, and, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be there with bells on my toes.
Exactly. So, sorry, the world's not allowed to end. It'll have to wait until a blank day on my calendar. And at this point, looking at my planner, the earliest is 2019. Because I'm already booking events for 18. So, y'all doomsdayers just need to sit down a minute. But this is kind of dangerous.
Well, the thing of it is what people, we should know this enough at this point in the modern age. If you go back to, what was it when the computers were all supposed to shut down? What was that back in 2000? Y2K. I remember the kids and I went to the store. We loaded up on Happy New Year stuff, on, little festivities or whatever, and everybody else is standing in line, and they're buying their little pumps and their, all the stuff they needed to survive the Y2K. And they were looking at me like I was the craziest woman ever. I said, well, let's see who's crazy tomorrow.
Yeah.
In the meantime, my kids are going to go home and have fun. Well, I didn't have to go and try to return all the stuff I bought.
Right.
You know,
well, they didn't either. You just didn't have to buy laundry soap for a while.
Exactly.
But, okay,
you know.
let's break down the science of this. And, well, who is this jerk? All right. Economic hoax, blah, blah, blah. So, the 23rd of September, according to David May, it'll be in 6 days, but it's 33 days after the solar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll be on the solar eclipse was on the 21st. Mays believes that it's an omen. He points out in the book of Revelations, which he describes as an image that appears in the sky on that day when Narambi is supposedly to rear its ugly head, especially bringing fire, storms, and other transgressions. The book describes a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars in her head, who gives birth to a boy who will rule all nations with an iron sickle, while she is threatened by a red seven-horned dragon. The woman then grows wings of an eagle and swallows up the earth. Okay. We'll chew on this for a moment. Hey, when's that grandbaby of yours born?
It's supposed to be born February 23rd.
All right. He's not in the running for the Antichrist.
No, and by the way, it's a girl.
We'll talk about this after it gets here. Okay. He's a writer of the Unsealed. This is a controversial Venus representing the woman will be clothed in the sun in positions over the moon, the 9 stars, the 3 planets, the planet Jupiter, which has been inside Virgo for a while now.
Right.
So he's trying to do this with astrology. Okay. Let me take a drink of coffee on this. Because
people always... Go ahead.
All right. So we have biblical prophecy. That's one complete prophecy by itself. It's rounded up with a nice little guarded fence, some razor wire, and a stone wall. Then we have astrology, which is another complete science that's much more open and stretched out and, has transferred over the seasons, and it continues to grow and change, but it's, repetitive patterns which forms the theory of astrology.
Right.
The Mercury is at this position. It appears to go backwards at this position. All hell breaks loose. That's Mercury in retrograde. Okay, we watched it for 100 years. Yes, that's Mercury in retrograde. We shall continue on calling it Mercury in retrograde when we see this occur.
Right.
All right. Okay, so Mays is saying that he's not saying the world will end on Sunday. Bullshit. Instead, he's claiming the prophecy book of Revelation will manifest that day, leading to a series of catonic events that will happen over a course of weeks. Well, let me see. The last time I read the book of Revelations was probably about 5 years ago. Yeah, I'm a little slow on it. But it was 7 years, then 7 years, then 1,000 years, then 10,000 years, May. So a couple weeks, no, you're a little bit bigger in problems. The world will not end, but the world as we know it will end, he says, adding later, a major part of the world will not be the same at the beginning of October. What, you're talking about, I don't know, fall? When we start seeing the leaves change, Maze, come the Hades on.
Right. Well, and really, and looking at this, okay, this is another person trying to, and again, I don't know him personally, but, over the centuries, people have tried to figure out prophecy, when Jesus is supposed to come back, everything, and they look for these little codes and hints in the Bible. No one's going to know that answer, first of all, okay? And for those of us who believe, we know we don't know that answer. It says we're not supposed to know that answer. And with what you just read, and when I was kind of looking at it, it was a little confusing to me. And, man, I'm really confused now. It doesn't even sound like Revelation.
Oh, it isn't Revelations. And this is what I like, because I am a minister. Raine is a minister too, but I'm also a high priest, and so I have a clue about multiple things here. But Ed Sizers, pastor and executive director of Wooten College Billy Graham Center, took first issue about how Mace describes in some medical articles. There is no such thing as Christian numerology, he told the press. You're basically got a made-up expert in a made-up field talking about made-up events. There's no justification that there is some secret number code in the Bible that nobody believes.
Thank you. That's what we're talking about there.
Exactly. So, it's not just me going, oh, great, here comes another cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. There's also someone that backs another dean of a college that says, oh, he's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, all right, and here's why. And Sizer says that while numbers do have significance in the Bible, they shouldn't be used to making sweeping predictions about planetary motions and the end of Earth. Whatever someone tells you that they found a secret code in the Bible in the conversation. He writes in the article published Friday in the Christian Today. Everyone else he or she says to be discounted.
He said that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just missed that part when I was reading through it.
Yeah, he said it's discounted. It's stupid.
The thing of it is we do not know those answers. We're not supposed to know those answers.
Right.
And that includes people like you and me.
Right. What I like is, the director of NASA came in and said the doomsday date was literally predicted to be in May 2003, according to NASA. Then it was moved to December 21st, 2012. The date that the Mayan calendar, some believe, marked the apocalypse. Nope, it just marked a reset of the freaking calendar. Morris, a NASA scientist, has given simple deductions to claim the massive planet, of course, to destroy Earth if Neebus is indeed as close as conspiracy theorists believe, striking Earth's astronomers and anyone really who would have already seen it. So again, this is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, people. Do not go and buy laundry soap and toilet paper. It is bullshit. And, I want that sound effect.
Oh, and you know what? I might have to buy toilet paper, though, because I'm down to 2 rolls, okay? So I got to tell you, But again, it comes down to we don't have those answers. We get certain energies, we pick up certain things, but, kind of when the world is going to end, okay? It's kind of like when people will call us up and say, well, when's somebody going to die? And they have a clue.
That's not my department.
Yeah, right.
Let me transfer you over to medical doctors. That is code 3003, extension 2000. Here's the whole thing, and this is what has gotten me for centuries. These people run around waiting for the world to end. Now, Rainey, if we talk about things back when we were young, the world's already ended. It ended when, Mom had to go to work. It ended when, you couldn't grow on the grounds. Okay? So, there's a lot of ways to look at a world ending. If you ask a Victorian lady, this is Solomon and Gomorrah. Dear God, women are running around showing their ankles. The world will end. But this is where it gets dangerous, people. And this is why we bring this up every time there's been the world is ending, the world is ending, the world is ending bullshit. It's because people believe this. And then they get into hysterics. And then they do crazy things. Does anyone remember Hellbob?
Right.
Yes, Hellbob. Does anybody remember, well, they don't remember because there's only a few lovely humans that are still alive that remember the cult that jumped into the English Channel and drowned around 1901 because they believed the world was ending and they didn't want to witness it. They wanted to go be with God. It's like literally, knock it off. Really. Go do something more productive. Like, I don't know, chew your toenails or something.
Live your life.
Have fun. You came down here for an assignment. Enjoy the assignment. All right.
Live life.
Yes, live life. So let's bounce back over and look at who's all being a guest at Miss Mama Moon's house. Well, first, as we talked about, we get Venus visiting, and she's redecorating a little bit if you're in D.C. So it's very interesting, what's going on. There's a total of 6 celestial bodies, 2 of them asteroids, 1 of them a star. We're going to enjoy these events because we entered the part of the galaxy where the Earth was formed.
Right.
Now, for our Mexico and Central American visitors, you can enjoy watching Mars dance with the moon, including during the daylight hours. This is probably early morning or late evening. You can see it as a very bright star. You may also notice that people tend to be a little bit more passionate during that time and maybe a little bit more warlike.
Right.
Now, if you're in the Philippines, there's Mercury. And gee, what are we getting out of the Philippines? We're getting a lot of communication, a lot of talk about the government, a lot of messages being delivered, a lot of things that we don't normally get to hear out of that area. North Korea is occurring.
Right.
In addition, we've got Herta and Knight, who will also be covering the moon with the naked eye. Professional astrologers says that you can probably see it with your naked eye throughout the cosmos. This occurs once every 28 years. Now, that's also a cycle, so that means that some people are going through cycles of ending and beginning. However, it's a good time to check up on your health, make the connections more stronger, work on the communication, and also work on some healing abilities. Because,
exactly.
You got all that growth going on there, and the energies from those 2 asteroids is affecting the moon, is going through the lens of the moon and beginning to flow out. So, when looking at this, go out and enjoy it, because some of this won't be seen again.
Exactly. And here's the thing, okay? When you talk about this and when I talk about it, going out there, beginnings and endings, okay? Some of you may find yourself going through a very long period of time where things seem very, very chaotic, okay? And I'm talking about long before today and long before the 23rd. Things are very, very chaotic. Okay,
right.
This is part of our life path. We all go through it at different points, with respect to going in and healing, those things that you need to heal from the past. For example, for me, last year and a half has really been about healing that feminine energy there, okay? That has to do with my accident, the left side of my body, healing the feminine energy, okay?
Right.
That goes back to also healing things that I need to let go of. And that may be where some of you are at. It may be pretty yucky at times to go through and transform and go through that process there. It is yucky. Trust me.
Right.
And you've gone through stuff like that yourself, Aeson.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Again, it's about getting to the other side spiritually, emotionally, and even physically. It's about getting to the other side and moving forward here. And, yes, according to where the planets are, this is going to have an effect on you. Depending on where you're born in that cycle, it's going to have an effect on when things happen to you. But it doesn't mean the world's ending. But there are endings, but there are beginnings. There are endings and there are beginnings coming in.
Right.
And, yeah, I think that there are some changes going on, but I don't think it's as massively as we were talking about a few minutes ago. I think
of course not.
And enjoy the process. Enjoy life.
Right.
You know, if you're feeling a little down, do something to get yourself out of it and try to go enjoy life anyway.
Well, not only that, but, go out and to do things. It drives me crazy. Literally. You hear people going, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. And it's like, why not? What's stopping you? Well, I just don't think. Bull crap. Raine, let's take a break and we'll be right back. And let's continue this little discussion.
We'll be back in a moment.
And you'll find us at www.themagichappens.com, your free online magazine.
Are you looking for loving,
spiritual
answers? Then you need to give Raine a call. Her number is 303-416-2977. She's able to give you a reading, see what your life path holds, plus what the angels and crossover loved ones has to say about it. Visit PsychicRaineLove.com for more details. And remember, Raine spelled R-A-I-N-E.
Hi, my name is Mary. Come on down to 717 Lee Street East in Charleston, West Virginia to visit the awesome store of the Two Tinkers. We have original fine artwork, handmade jewelry, we do custom work, and we also do commissions on paintings for portraits or animals. Come on down and see us.
Some people talk to their pets. Some people talk to their plants. And some people just talk to themselves. We're not being all judgy, but how's that been working out for you? I've got a better idea. Join Master Psychic Aeson Knight for Conversation with Aeson, the show where you're the co-host. You call, you talk, you live a better life.
You're on the air.
Yes, hi. Thanks for taking my phone call.
You're welcome, darling. How you doing?
I'm okay. Not that great.
Oh, well, how can I help you?
When do you see your boyfriend coming in? And don't say feel good about yourself and in 10 years.
Well, honey, if it's going to be that long, I'll let you know, and you can get a book and a cab.
Got it. I'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Conversation with Aeson on Blog Talk Radio, Psychic Coffee Shop Online. Oh, and you can bring your cat.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Did you know that you can have a reading with Aeson in person at the Two Tinkers on Lee Street in Charleston, West Virginia? Or you can reach him by phone, chat, or even text message. You should really check out his site, aesonknight.com, or give him a call. His number is 304-584-3592.
Hi, welcome, relax, have a cup of your favorite topics with your hosts Aeson Knight and Raine Love. There's nothing like a good conversation to warm your soul and give your spirit a break now and then. Aeson and Love have such a wonderful way of exploring topics like psychic phenomena, important topics in our daily lives from a psychic's point of view, and you never know who else will stop by. The Psychic Coffee Shop, live on Blog Talk Radio. So come on in. We made a fresh cup of Java just for you.
All right, and we're back. Let me get Raine. Hello, darlings. Yeah, I know. Sorry. It was my fault. I didn't click the button fast enough. I didn't see you sit down with the cappuccinos again. So you were going to ask me something before we went to break.
Yes. We were discussing about I can't, and I know that just drives me crazy when I hear that from people.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you are not giving me a hard time about the technology, right?
No, I'm not giving you a hard time about technology, honey. I can understand not understanding the process of technology. For me, it's like, oh my God, how did we ever do this? But, earlier this week I was talking with somebody, and I said, yeah, I used to keep my books on Lotus. They were like, Lotus? I avoided Lotus. I was able to, what's Lotus? And I'm like, okay, yes, the old man is old enough to remember when floppy drives were the size of a sandwich. Actually, a little bit bigger than a sandwich. It was probably, the size of a tablet now. And you could own, if your computer had 64 megabytes of hard drive space, you were happy. I remember when 250K came out. Oh my God, we thought it was so cool. And now they're looking at my poor little computer and going, oh, it only has 8 gigs of RAM? Oh, we'll have to update that.
I know,
and I'm like, leave it alone. I remember when hard drives were that size, and those were large. But anyhow.
Oh, yes, I do remember those days, and we thought it was a major big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot all about Lotus till you mentioned it.
Oh, I remember Lotus and E-Square Command, and what else was it? I remember having to use command prompts to order stuff in, to get stuff to come to order. And, you had, if you ran multiple networks, which, me and Raine is all over the place, you had to have a computer for each network because it could only handle that one little network.
Exactly. If you think about when let's face it. Okay, they do say computers did exist, and I believe it because I've seen pictures of the great big computers that took up an entire building or an acre of land, back when we were little tykes, so to speak, or before we were born. But reality is computers on any semblance of what we know now or what we even knew 10 or 15 years ago did not exist.
Right.
They didn't exist. An electric typewriter was a really big deal,
Oh,
and
honey,
so
an electric typewriter was a dream. And what's real funny is, if I'm typing a document now and I'm really in writer's mode, I will catch myself, because I smoke with my right hand, so the paddle would be on the right hand, and I can catch myself laying my cigarette down and going to swipe at the return thing if I'm not thinking. Do you remember when you had to, jack slap the roll to get it to go through?
Yep.
Especially if I'm filling out forms now, I find myself doing that. But those are old habits that we got used to. Nowadays, you show kids a typewriter, especially the old ones before we got the keyboards that we currently have. Back when, I think it's like in 1907, 1908, when the keys are in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
That's when they get all confused.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. But if you would throw that at somebody from Victorian era when typewriters were the new magical thing, show them a computer of today, that would be of the devil. That would be hell. And furthermore,
yeah.
and this kind of ties into our earlier discussion about, this idiot who went through and tried to count how many times God said Jew in the Bible. Well, gee, he didn't say Jew in the Bible because the Bible was written 300 years after Christ lived. And that was the first time it started being written. That doesn't count all the hundreds of little monks that ran around and translated words. And if you ever get a chance, have a group of people, I want you to play telephone. And then come back and tell me that every word in the Bible is exactly as it should be, because it ain't. But, just moving along there.
Yes.
This is where the doofus forgets what Revelations is. Revelations is a political letter, okay, being wrote about Rome's current emperor and how terrible he was to the Christians and what this guy would want to do to him. Now let's go hopping along into the future, 300 years from now, and one of my letters to one of my friends has now became religious doctrine. All I have to say is having helped them, if it's me talking about somebody who I refuse to name, who's filling a seat that he doesn't deserve, we're in trouble.
Right.
They'll all be running around with tinfoil hats and carrying 3 stones in their pocket.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, and the thing of it is so much of history, and if you look at the Bible, and I'm a Christian, and I have my faith, I believe in my faith, but also I know historically, there are inaccuracies there, okay?
Right.
Because of, let's look at the King James. King James was written to control the people.
Of England.
Right.
Of England.
Right.
And, King James had a lot of fears of witches and witchcraft. So that little line, and I get it quoted at me all the time, and I always look at them and go, but I'm here. Thou shalt not allow a witch to suffer and live. Well, I'm not suffering, and I'm living. And the original world was poisonous because back in the time that it was written, poison was the big way of killing people.
Right. Right.
Okay.
That's how they did it, And, the thing of it is, if you even go back to, witchcraft, because I, did a paper many years ago on the history of witchcraft, during the medieval times and also during the time period, when this country was first being put together. Was okay. In this country, witchcraft was done because women were not allowed to own land. So it was a way that the leaders, I can't remember what they're called now, would get the land, because if there were no male heirs, they could come in if they accused them of witchcraft, they could go in and get the land, and the state would get the land, or the money or the finances.
Well,
and then if you go back to medieval times,
yes,
that's what I was going to say. If you go back to medieval times, and you can even look at this even during the King James time period, and I suspect even before that, medicine was done through, old, passed down things from the ages, like your family has done. We had midwifery, and the women would come in and they would do these different things, and this was basically the medical profession. Then they began to have doctors. Well, guess what? The two weren't fitting in there so well. So they had to do something about the midwives.
Right.
They had to do something about the women, who were, out there, doing what they had done for centuries.
Right.
Because
you
want to get rid of somebody, it was a good way.
Well, and this has been the whole thing with witchcraft itself. Not Wicca, the religion. We'll set that aside. We'll talk about the witchcraftery. In general, witchcraftery is a science. and this is where astrology fits into a science. It has been science, it was science, and it was challenging, and it was mostly female people, and we have doctors running around checking stool and, checking your urine and bleeding you with leeches.
Right.
Okay, and women were going, you're going to bleed him? He's already got a cold, just fix him a cup of whiskey and let's get this over with. Well, they can't charge for a cup of whiskey. They can charge to bleed him for 3 hours. So it all boils down to money.
Didn't they say money is the root of all evil?
Well, money and gold is the root of all evil, and men normally fuck up one of them.
Yeah, so often politics and control and power are involved in so many different things, whether it's religion or, ancient writings or decisions that are being made. Go back and look at what was going on during that time period.
Right.
Look what was going on.
Well, not only go look at what's going on, but look at other things. And, this is like today, in today's times, okay? And this has been turning into a big political movement, and it really isn't a political movement. And people are going to go, what are we talking about? I'm talking about statues being moved.
Yes.
Those statues are some of them are 150 years old. Others are older than that. Okay? If we don't move them to a controlled environment, we're going to lose them. Scientifically proven. You put grass outside for 150 years, what's going to happen to it? It's going to decline and decrepit. It's going to dissolve.
Right.
Okay. Right. So here's the real choice of things. Do we take these statues out of the weather, put them into a museum where they can be maintained and taken care of, or do we take and put them? We just let them fall apart. I mean, the Statue of Liberty. Everyone talks about the Statue of Liberty. It was, 10 years ago they had to rebuild her from the toenail up?
They did have to do that, yes.
Okay. The original Statue of Liberty is in some junkyard, point blank, because she literally was rusting to pieces.
Right.
Now, they couldn't move her because she's so big into a museum. But think about this. Charlottesville. Terrible event, politicized out the elbow and used for politicism over the moving of a statue. And then another statue got destroyed because our little heathen children didn't get a good ass whipping when they were growing up to respect things.
Correct.
Okay. Both of those things are occurring and it's being used for politicism. I think it's bullcrap. Move the statues. Put them into a museum. Put them to where they can be maintained. Do you think we would have the statue of David, who is made out of marble, unless it was took into a castle and is now in a museum, took into a chapel and now is in a museum? If you set that out on the street, for everybody to look at, touch, take pictures of, spray paint over because, your mama didn't bust your ass good enough, it would be decrepit. Same thing's going on now, except now it's being used for a political weapon.
Yeah, and I think it's really terrible what they're doing. We have so much history. Whether we agree or not, we have evolved in who we are because of all these historical moments.
Right.
And they need to be remembered.
Right, but they need to be remembered. But the hard work of the communities that, these statues weren't just went out and bought like we do today and go buy, let's just go buy a fountain and put it in the front yard. Okay, I'll write the check for $300. That ain't nothing but a couple days' pay. No. these statues were built by the community. Most of them were penny collected, nickel collected, dollar collected, and commissioned by an artisan to make.
Correct.
Okay. None of them are being destroyed and sent to the scrapyard. That has already been confirmed so many dang times, it's ridiculous. Okay? Totally ridiculous. They're being moved to museums. They're being moved to inside buildings. This is so they do not turn into scrap. And instead of coming out and saying, well, we're moving the statue for the preservation of the statue, you know, and then it's like, oh, okay. They have to go and politicize it to get us all in an uproar. Why? Because we've got an idiot running around here acting like an idiot. You know, it's kind of like, well, you know, where's the statues that were built during... Here's a key example, and nobody talks about this one here lately. Not the Statue of Liberty, the Liberty Bell. Have you been to see the Liberty Bell?
No, I have not, my dear.
All right. Well, the one in Philadelphia is behind 4 inches of glass in a contained, vaulted environment.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia spent probably about, $2 million to build its encasement.
Wow.
Can you see little Charlottesville or Louisville, Kentucky, or anywhere else they're moving statues around at, spending that money to contain one statue when they've got 30?
No. No.
The funds aren't there, people.
Yeah. Right. You know, I do think it's important for us to have the history.
Right.
Okay, whether we agree with the history or not. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, but I also know that our society has evolved over the centuries.
Exactly.
And these are things that are learning lessons for us, and it's
not only
important that we always know the history and why people thought the way that they did at the time.
Right, and it's not that I'm saying slavery is right or slavery is wrong or any of that. It's not my society, first of all.
Right.
This ain't my society. You know, looking at the way some of these people dress, I'd, stick a badge on them or send them home. But moving forward, in 50 years,
mm-hmm.
the World War II monuments that are out there are either going to have to be maintained or moved. One of the two. They're going to have to be done one of the two, or we're going to lose them. And that is the what's really going on idea here. Recently, and this is another sign of the times, recently the local paper has announced that they were not doing a Monday issue anymore. It'll only be digital. So they're phasing out their issues. Probably in 2 years, they'll stop doing a daily paper, except in digital, and only do a Sunday paper. These are signs of the times.
In all honesty, I'm surprised it hasn't happened to a greater level.
Yeah.
Yes.
To a greater level. But we need to maintain these things to keep our history. Do I think that we should soften our history and not talk about dinosaurs because that'll offend somebody? Not talk about slavery because that'll offend somebody? No, talk about it. Get down into the full culture of this. Okay? Right. Slavery, bad thing. Slavery culture, bad thing. But the connections,
I look at
family
it this
connections.
Way. I look at it this way.
Mm-hmm.
It should show us how far we've come.
Right.
For example, women getting the vote. What most people don't realize is that a lot of women died in jail to get the right to vote.
Right.
I'm using that as a neutral example, okay?
Well, it's a very good neutral example because here's the thing with it. What also you don't realize is the only reason the women got the vote wasn't before all the protesting and the picketing that was done properly. Running around here like village idiots isn't how you picket or demonstrate. Breaking and destroying things isn't how you demonstrate. It was done because everybody's Congress's mothers and wives landslided and said, if we don't get to vote, you won't get your dinner.
Gee, I was going to say something else, but it wouldn't be appropriate.
Well, that was included in the dinner, honey.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, again, that's about society changing. And, you know, all these things had to happen, you know.
But a lot of it hasn't changed.
Well, you know, and the thing of it is I don't really want to take the blame for something I wasn't a part of. However, we can look at all this and go, you know what, we've got a lot to be proud of here.
Right.
We've got a lot to be proud of here. We've come so far. You know, and I know we've got a lot of people out there saying, no, we haven't. Yes, we have.
Yeah, we have. We've come a long way.
Have.
But at the same time, you know, do I think that, you know, because your fifth cousin's great-great-uncle owned a plantation that your name should be Mud and you should, like, walk around on your knees all your life? No. I think that's bullcrap. The sins of the son do not go upon the sins of the father. I also think that it's bullcrap that we, you know, just paint it as evil, mean masters beating the heck out of people. These people lived together in a societal situation for hundreds of years, generation after generation.
Exactly.
There are stories, story after story after story of, masters entrusting and being the only confidants they had were their housekeeper. We see this in today's society with the elderly, and sometimes the only people they talk to is the home health care aide that walks through the door.
Right. Exactly.
At 8 o'clock to get them out of bed. Do I think that we should scrap everything we learned from the late 17 and 1800s? No. Do I think that we could take some dang good lessons there? You bet your elbows we could.
Yeah, and I agree. But the thing that is there's been society has evolved on multiple levels here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I personally struggle with the feminism thing. I consider myself to be perfectly equal.
Right.
I'm perfectly comfortable with who I am. Do I think that women get paid equally? No, not necessarily. But there's also, when I look at people, you know, even in my readings, okay, I look at there are things that men have to go through and women have to go through. They're different.
They are. And, you know, we're not going to have to get time to really dig into this, but I'm going to give you a flip side of that coin.
Yeah. And
here's the flip side of that coin. You know, we hear all the time, you know, women don't get paid equally as men. They don't make as much as men. I call bullcrap in 3 different industries. Nursing, I call bullcrap. Floral design, I call bullcrap. And psychic readings, I call double bullcrap. And here's the factor. Okay? Here's the facts. Looking at it from a business perspective, because I have the data from both our sides. Yes, I do the books. You make more than me on an average day than I make on you. And you work less time than I do. So you should have to give me half of your... Yeah, you should have to give me half of it. Yeah, you can. You make more than I do. Other women psychics I know makes more than I do. So, you know, if we want to hop on this equal pay for equal work stuff, start handing over some of your paycheck. I'll take it and divide.
I don't have a problem with it. To me, I feel perfectly equal. I feel perfectly I'm in charge of my life. You know, sure, there are certain social norms. You know, I'm old school. I totally want the guy to open up the door for me. But you know what? When he comes into my house, I'm going to cook him a nice meal, okay?
Exactly.
And I'm not going to feel bad about it, and I'm not going to feel like I am lesser than him for cooking a meal. That, to me, makes me proud, okay?
Exactly.
So I don't have all those hang-ups on that, you know.
I'm just giving you an example of that, men make more. Bullshit. All three industries I've been into. Floral design, the women always made more. Nursing, the women make more. Sorry to burst your bubbles. And then now in psychics and mediums, women make more.
Well, and there was a book out many years ago that talked about different jobs that were just naturally leaned more towards feminine energy and male energy. Okay, right. And so often you were paid accordingly. There's some truth to that. However, however, there is also the truth of the matter is we as women, we have those little babies and we want to take time off. I know some people are going to get real upset with me for saying that. But it is a reality there.
Well, men take time off too, nowadays for the babies, which I think is insane. What the hell use is he doing there? People are taking time off if they get a new pet. Dear gods, really?
I know, I've heard that.
It's like, what the hell? It's a dog. Bring it to work. It can sit underneath your desk like mine does.
Now, I can see if you're adopting a baby, I can see you getting time off.
Right, because
you've got to adjust.
Well, not only that, but everybody's got to adjust. Okay? But I don't see a reason for men to have maternity leave 2 months before the baby is born and 4 months after the baby is born. What the hell is he doing?
And yet we also know there's a lot of women and men out there who they might get a week off because they got to go out there and make money.
Exactly. If that. My mother took a week off. She was back to the floor in no time. My dad didn't even notice it had occurred. He didn't know for another 4 hours that his son was born 2 floors up because he was on the floor. So do I think that we're in a softer society? Yes. Do I think that we're soft on our children? You bet your elbows. I don't think we'd have half the problem we do out of youth today. Do you know they don't grade them anymore up until the 3rd grade?
Yes, I did know that.
What the Hades of an elbow?
Well, it comes back to, we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. It comes back to playing soccer and everybody gets a participation trophy. And, I didn't like having my kids' feelings hurt. I didn't like having my feelings hurt. I was not a good softball player. I'm sorry. And the kids were not very nice to me. But it was not what I did. But I could out-climb any tree on them any day.
Well, exactly. But here's the facts. And this is my whole problem with the soft thing on children and this, hyping up stupid crap. Okay? Right. All it does is create problems. When we're soft on our children, like we're being, little Johnny in the 2nd grade thinks he's just all the best. Well, good gracious, you put little Johnny out on the streets today, and his boss is going to look at him and go, your grammar structure sucks. You're fired. You can't write for the newspaper. That's where you learn.
When they get in their early 20s and they're out there having to go survive society.
Exactly. They're not going to get participation. No, they're not.
Yeah. This is where you get a lot of kids committing suicide.
Well, it would be prevented.
They don't know how to deal with life.
They don't know how to deal with life. And then we have little hooligans that don't know how to deal with anything else. And I'm sorry, that's what, these little 18, 19, 20-year-old college brats that are living on mommy and daddy's time, or our dime, is doing. They're being little brats.
And the hard thing is we're only going to be around for so long. What's going to happen when they're in charge?
That's scary. That is just scary. I'm at probably mid-age. Looking at my genetic average history, in 40 years, I'm going to be living in Timbuktu. But this Wednesday, I'll be back with Conversations with Aeson, and I'll be taking your calls and chatting. And if you need me in between then, you can go to aesonknight.com. I've got live appointments in Charleston, West Virginia. You can call and book an appointment. or I've got phone appointments available all week. And if you really don't have time to talk but got a burning question, you can always just text me, and I'll be happy to take care of that for you. And you can reach Miss Raine at Psychic Raine. Oh, crap, what's your stuff?
It's psychicrainelove.com, and the Raine ends with an E, R-A-I-N-E. And
yes.
I've got all my services there. You can see whatever sites I'm on. You can go through PayPal, pay for a private reading. You can also find me on Facebook under Love Raine. And if you can't find me anywhere else, we're pretty easy to find. Or you can find us, go here to Blog Talk. We advertise on Blog Talk as well.
Yes.
And, if you can't get a hold of Aeson, you can call me. And if you can't get a hold of me, you can call Aeson.
Exactly.
Very different style, but sometimes
very different readings. Yeah, very different readings, very different styles.
But that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
But we don't give out participation trophies.
No.
So, guys, we'll talk about you next week. Good night, y'all.
Good one.
Good night, Miss Raine.
Good night, Mr. Aeson. Did you know that you can have a reading with Aeson in person at the Two Tinkers on Lee Street in Charleston, West Virginia? Or you can reach him by phone, chat, or even text message. You should really check out his site, aesonknight.com, or give him a call. His number is 304-584-3592.
Are you looking for loving, caring, spiritual answers? Then you need to give Raine a call. Her number is 303-416-2977. She's able to give you a reading, see what your life path holds, plus what the angels and crossover loved ones has to say about it. Visit psychicrainelove.com for more details. And remember, Raine spelled R-A-I-N-E.
You're listening to the Magic Happens Radio Network, sponsored by the Magic Happens magazine. You'll find us at www.themagichappens.com.